Thanks for logging in today. What we're going to be looking at is PE100 Module 3. This is the introduction to the individual assignment, and it's going to be regarding written communication. So you guys should have finished your discussion board in which we kind of looked at some different things and kind of got you acclimated into the terminology and the types of things that we need to do, as well as we've kind of got you guys using some 21st century tools such as the white smoke for your grammar and spell checking. So you should have all the skills necessary to write a professional written document that is checked as for grammar and spelling as we sit here now. And using your grammar and spell checker should provide you with a confidence level that you didn't have before, that your letters are properly formatted and that they contain the proper information in which to make them helpful in your coordination and management of the work you are performing. And in this individual assignment, we're going to work on many of the soft skills which allow you to continue your progress into becoming a successful project engineer. Written communication was once a prized skill in society, and it established a person's reputation in a much slower paced environment. And you go back just 100 years, or even for that matter 50 years ago, people that knew how to write were the ones that had the more senior positions in government or in business or for that matter, pretty much any aspect of human life. However, we're now in the 21st century where communication is done so quickly, and we don't give much thought towards the composition and importance of a single email or blog. We just keep slamming them out, and so we've kind of lost some of that, the art to written communication in the process. And this advance in today's society allows us to manage considerable amounts of data very quickly. And in fact, we begin to look at emails and written letters as a means to resolve matters very quickly without a lot of effort. We're trying to just slam them in and out and just make sure we're resolving lots of things in a day. And we're not really focused on how well we resolve it. And what we're going to study within this individual assignment is the methods and soft skills necessary to allow you to keep pace with the constant flow of communication. And at the same time, we're going to study the ways to compose our correspondence at a level that will increase your own personal reputation in the industry, as well as promoting the professionalism of your company through your efforts. And this is just in your writing styles. And you're going to be somewhat amazed at how quickly you can start building your reputation just on improving your skills of handling emails and written correspondence. Predominantly, it's a matter of recognizing that you are capable of writing in a way that seeks resolution to the matters at hand by using your soft skills. And at first, and it's like every other soft skill that we've talked about so far, they're a little bit difficult to master because it's not a tangible do the A, then go to B, and then go to C. These are all very intellectual skills that we do through our own mind and our egos and who we are as people. Somewhat establish that and it establishes you as a problem solver that is capable of managing large projects. And that's really what we're trying to do, is the better your soft skills get in how you handle all of this communication is going to make you more coveted for the larger jobs, because every PM is going to want the best project engineer they can get. And if you can just expand your reputation to being one of those problem solvers, you're going to be on all the big jobs. So as we will discuss written communication, as we discuss written communication, it's easy to think that this is really just emails, as nobody really writes letters anymore. And, you know, in the next module, we're going to look at emails as a separate subject. But it's important to understand that everything that we're going to discuss within this module, in Module 3, is going to apply to emails as well, because emails have some specific quirks to them, but the composition is going to be exactly whether it's written, if you're writing a memo, you're writing an email, you're writing a letter, or you're writing a presentation or a brief or whatever it may be. So just remember that a lot of the skills that we're going to learn in Module 3 will transform into Module 4 as well. So secondly, there are many circumstances which occur on a weekly or daily basis in which you're going to communicate in a written form that is not an email. And, you know, we all think that pretty much everything we do is emails, but for instance, we're going to always prepare meeting agendas, and we have to keep our weekly minutes for the meetings we attend. And so this is just written communication, plain and simple. We got tons and tons of things beyond emails that we're writing on a daily or weekly basis. We also find ourselves preparing memos in which we may be studying an issue, or you may be summarizing your findings on a specific item to keep your boss informed as to the status of your work or some other item that's cropped up that you need to make sure your staff is aware of. And this type of written communication has its own separate format as well. And it's a bit of a different style from a conventional email. So when you look at written communication, you got to remember that it's all different types. So there are different styles, there are different forms, and different things that we do. And so don't just think of it as emails. Think of it as everything that you do with a pencil or a typewriter or a computer keyboard or, for that matter, a tablet. So, and additionally, when you get into really big problems, many times you'll be required to prepare a presentation for a meeting that is being held, right? So if we have a big problem, and, you know, we do have big problems, you know, we're going to end up in a meeting. And when you walk into that meeting, you're going to probably have a handout that you're going to need to give to them. It could be a couple of pages to a multiple chapter book, you know, depending on the problem that's at hand. So you're going to, and really as you get better and better, once you're able to start doing presentations for meetings and you're able to write up individual briefs to solve specific big problems, you're reaching into that next level of project engineering that's approaching project management. So as you really start judging yourself as how well you're doing in your communication, or how well you're doing as a project engineer, look at the types of stuff you're writing. If you're only doing emails, you're only touching a little part of this job. But if you're getting into the overall big parts of the job, you're going to be dealing with large briefs and presentations and contracts and purchase order terms and conditions and lots of things that put you more into management, not just being a clerk trying to crank out a bunch of emails. So, and as we visit writing a letter versus sending an email, I mean, in many cases, just because it's easy to write an email, you may find yourself trying to communicate a subject that may be 3 or 4 pages of narrative that you cram into an email. And guess what? Nobody wants to read a 3 or 4 page email because emails don't have pages. They just start at the top and you keep going to the bottom. So you end up with this email that if you printed it out, it'd be 1.5 feet long. And you wonder why nobody wants to read it. So if you put it into a format that people want to read, that's what you need to do, because let's be honest with each other. And, you know, we prefer to look at documents which are easy to read. It has a good font, it has a good size, so we're not just scrunching our eyes trying to look at these little email printouts. And we want them formatted to where if there's graphics that we need to put in there to illustrate the points being made in the specific communication we're doing, you should put them in there. And also you're going to learn how to use chapters and attachments in an easy readable format so that you become very, very good at getting your subject across, because that's really what we're trying to do. You're trying to get a subject across and get a resolution or get something resolved to your best interest, to the best interest of your company, shall we say. So what we can see is that written communication takes on many forms which require different formats and styles in order to properly communicate with your clients, vendors, and your in-house employees. And as your writing skills improve, so will your opportunities be available for you to become a team leader in solving the bigger problems for the project. In other words, if your writing skills are better than somebody else's as far as being able to write a brief on a specific problem, you're going to get that work. And that's where your opportunities become more and more available for you to become more of a manager and less of somebody just doing a task over and over and over during the day. And while you may be able to solve problems very well on your own, you have a good knowledge of the industry and you know how to get out there and just fix things. If you can't communicate your solutions and plans in a format that your audience wants to read, you're not going to be given many opportunities to participate in the management of the project. And here again, instead, we kind of fall into the role of a glorified clerk. So what we really, you should look for those opportunities to improve your writing skills that give you a chance to show to your management people, your bosses, that you're capable of really handling these larger problems that exist on these projects. So that's just making you a better project engineer and making your career expand in a much faster fashion. And to ensure that you continue to grow within your career, the first and most important factor that will be the way you're able to communicate in all forms of communication in a professional manner. And the reason we started the Academy with this first class related to communication is because of that very fact. If we can start improving the ways in which you're able to communicate right off the bat, then as you continue to go through your courses, you're going to be enhancing that communication ability so that when you gain knowledge in the next class and the next class and the next class, you're going to be able to communicate them in better ways. And that's only going to reflect upon you and your reputation as you proceed through these classes. And I know everybody probably wondered, why in the heck am I doing communication to start off a project management class or a project engineering class? And that's exactly the reason why, because you could be the greatest project engineer in the world, but if you can't communicate it and people can't see it in a format on a daily basis, they're never going to know you're able to do that. And so what we're really to the point now is we're going to move on and move into learning how to effectively communicate in the active voice for the majority of your communications. And that's where we'll get into passive versus active voice and how we can maintain that active voice within your correspondence.